Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Eric Malka with us. He's an entrepreneur and investor, an author, and founder at three companies: Ingredients, The Art of Shaving, which he exited to Gillette a couple of years ago, and Strategic Brand Investments. So we're going to talk about his investments nowadays, his crusade to favor as many entrepreneurs as possible nowadays, and what he's up to. This pod is presented to you by podfire.com. If you want to start or scale your own podcast, go to podfire.com. Eric, welcome. Bienvenue. Bienvenido al podcast. Tell us a bit more
Thank
about
you.
yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Well, I'm one of the lucky ones that was able to go full circle as an entrepreneur from startup to strategic acquisition. The more I studied my success story, the more I realized that I threaded a needle, and that very small percentage of entrepreneurs actually get there, even though I believe 100% of entrepreneurs have the goal of building, scaling, and exiting their business in a big way. The it's a fraction of a percent of them that will actually achieve it. So it's become kind of my mission to help the next generation of entrepreneurs as much as I can to increase the odds of success, um, and hopefully trying to help them achieve their goals. That's what I've been focused on in my career.
Tell us about your story, starting with the art of shaving.
I'm publishing a book called On the Razor's Edge in August, and tells the whole story in detail, but I'll try to give it to you in a few in a shorter version. Basically, I met my wife in 1994. Together, we moved to New York City, and I got involved with men's grooming by coincidence. I got a job to pay the rent for someone that was selling all sorts of men's grooming brand from England. My wife and I had the idea to open a small shop. Um, she had created for me in our kitchen a pre-shave oil because I had sensitive skin, and along with the product I was using from my work, the shaving brush and creams, I had the best shave of my life. So we thought there was something there, and we sold our car, opened a tiny little store. We were able to scrape up enough resources to open a tiny store on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And within a few months, the store became a huge success, allowing us to open a second store on Madison Avenue, which was a humongous success, providing us with the cash flow profits to develop our own brand. And that really created a snowball effect that attracted retailers like Neiman Marcus and others, um, and we started opening more stores, selling to more stores. We were sold in over 1,000 stores by 2004. And after Gillette was acquired by Procter and Gamble in 2005 for what is the largest acquisition in consumer packaged goods, they became very interested in the men's category, and we were positioned as the leading brand for premium sector. So we did a joint venture with them to launch a co-branded razor called the Fusion Chrome Collection, which became very successful and led P&G to ask us if we would be willing to sell them our company, to which we said yes. Um, 15 months later, we signed the deal in 2009 for them to acquire us. We stayed on for a couple of years and then departed the company back in the end of 2010 and started a new phase, a new journey.
How game changing was
Unemployed.
that? Uh, yeah, exit, quote unquote. Was that one very good or not so life changing?
Oh, it was a life-changing event for sure. No doubt about it. It didn't really change our lifestyle very much because we already were accustomed to a great lifestyle with our business. So that didn't change our lifestyle, but we had two kids during the sale of the business and the exit of the business. So we transitioned from running a global brand to being at-home parents. So that was a bit of a shock. And for those who have exited their businesses, we started wondering, what do we do now? Who are we, and what's our identity without that brand? How do we? What are we going to do with our career? So it was a life-changing event in a very positive way, but all transitions can be challenging, as you know.
Right. And what was that next venture of yours? Because now you were dedicated to your kids, but then came in the I need to start another company again. I need the adrenaline.
Yeah, listen, I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a workaholic. I only work when I need to, and I try to enjoy my life the rest of the time. So at that point, I really didn't need to work anymore. But I had an absent father growing up. So I realized at that moment that the universe had given me a gift. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have a job. I have no responsibility except these two little babies. So I really wanted to be a hands-on father and be there for their formative years. And for quite a few years, I really focused on three things coming out of my acquisition. My kids, number one, my health, mental and physical health, which I've neglected, working my ass off, as a lot of entrepreneurs do, unfortunately. And the third one was to start learning about investing so that, I would be able to preserve some of the fruits of our labor that we were so lucky to have. So that those became my occupation. Those three things became my occupations. In 2014, about 4 or 5 years into it, I decided that I wanted to help. I had this dream of becoming an angel investor. And I had raised money for my businesses. I had dealt with horrible investors, sharks, wolves in sheep clothing, those that give VCs a bad name. And I wanted to be a different kind of VC. I wanted to be the guy that was really helping the underdog, not just the guy that made it and had the EBITDA and the threshold for us to invest in, but those guys that really needed help. And as I met a lot of entrepreneurs, I realized that there's a stage between when you have a proof of concept that you've developed and you're ready to raise capital. A lot of entrepreneurs get into trouble in that period. They make too many mistakes, perhaps. They run out of cash. They don't have enough sales. A lot of we all make mistakes, but entrepreneurs are often find themselves in a little bit deep waters at that point, and that's where I wanted to play. I wanted to help entrepreneurs learn how to achieve a scalable business model, um, and helping them get to the point where their business is investable in to attract investments. And those two go together. If you have a great business that can be scaled, investors are going to be interested, right? Those two kind of work hand in hand. So that's when I founded Strategic Brand Investments, a very descriptive name that says that we're not really interested in just investing in any businesses, but in brands. We're brand builders, and we believe that we can add a lot of value to someone that's trying to build a brand, especially in our world of beauty and grooming and wellness, which is what we focus on. We only work with entrepreneurs that we know we can help through our network, our capital, or our expertise in the industry. Um, so that became our first real endeavor after the art of shaving. We invested in two companies locally to test the thesis. And because we had nothing else going on in the beginning, my wife and I, really poured ourselves into those two businesses more than we would nowadays. Um, and we really helped to develop these two businesses in a big way. We exited them after 7 years for 10x on our investment, which was a great way to confirm that this was an interesting business model, not only to do good for entrepreneurs, but also to do well for ourselves in the process. Um, in the meantime, I've also been intensively learning how to become an investor, to manage our family's wealth. And this is something that has taken a lot of my time, not to manage the wealth, but to learn how to do it, you know. So we also, in the recent years, launched a new brand called Ingredients, which we're very passionate about. It's a brand that contains zero chemicals. It's the purest line of beauty products in the industry, and we're very proud of that. So, needless to say, we keep busy. We keep busy,
And you trademarked the word ingredients.
and we have multiple trademarks on the word ingredients, which is always something that makes people ask the question the way you did. And that's why if you look at our ingredients logo, we overemphasize the size of the registered mark next to the name because we feel we were a bit lucky to get it.
How is it to, yeah, build that many businesses with your tender half? Like, how do you keep relationships separated from business?
Um, it was very natural to us to work together. We immediately, from the time we met, we started to talk about our personal ambitions. We both had very similar goals. And I didn't know it at the time because she was very young when I met my wife. She was 20 years old. I didn't know she would evolve to become a creative force in the industry. And she's one of the best formulators in green chemistry with impeccable taste and work ethic. So I'm not going to say it was easy. And sometimes when I tell friends that I work with my wife and they think about working with their wives, they cringe at the idea. But for us, it's worked well. We're good partners. We make a good team, whether it's parenting or uh, designing a home for ourselves or building businesses. So we've been very complementary, if you will. I think the same. You need to be a little bit disciplined when you work with your wife, your spouse. You know, you can't just bring. In the beginning, of course, we brought a lot of the work home. We were, that's all we thought about. We were obsessed with it, but we became more disciplined over the years to keep boundaries.
What's lacking in the natural products industry, and what's gave you the feeling that okay, there was a space for you and your ideas?
Listen, we've been in the industry for 30 years and we've seen the dirty little secrets, right? When you spend enough time in an industry, you start learning the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, we know the ugly, and the ugly is that the beauty industry is a toxic place for women's health. Um, Tens of thousands of chemicals make their way into billions of products that are not only polluting our planets, but they're making our people sick, mostly women, because men don't use so many products, a little hair gel, little deodorant, shampoo, and you're done. But women can come into contact with hundreds of chemicals from head to toe. And we believe that a lot of the health issues women face is directly related to the toxic ingredients that they put on their skin, hair, nails, and other areas of their bodies. Um, at the Art of Shaving, we used only botanical ingredients and essential oils, but we did that because it was our personal philosophy. We didn't think men cared, and they didn't. That's why we did not promote the art of shaving as a natural brand. But we wanted to have integrity in what we do, and we always promote health in every project that we get involved with. But now, fast forward to 2018, we really, especially my wife, she really wanted to create a product line that she would buy herself for her, for me, and for our children. And we just couldn't find products out there that met our very strict um, standards of zero chemicals. There is just nothing out there without chemicals, unless you're buying oils. You know, there are growing number of brands that just sell botanical oils that don't need preservation. But once you have products like shampoos or serums that require water, you're going to have bacteria, and that's where at the very least you're going to see toxic ingredients to preserve the products. But a lot of brands promote themselves as natural, and they're not. um, so we wanted to really not just be on the sidelines saying we didn't agree or we didn't like or don't do this. We wanted to actually show that it could be done, that it was possible to create a brand with only plant-based ingredients that was stable for 3 years, that could be sold at reasonable prices, that would be accessible to a lot more people. So I think that answers the question how we saw that.
It does. So, how do you split your time between running ingredients and the investment side of things nowadays?
Nowadays, my wife is more focused on ingredients full time, and I'm more focused on my investments full time. So I'm there to help her with ingredients, and she's there to help me when I need her help. But our focus are on separate areas.
Right. And your thesis nowadays, I'm guessing it's a bit more than just helping out like someone that needs help, but what are you looking for in a founder? If you see grit, for example, does it give you hope that they might get somewhere? Are you looking for some particular exit, specific niche? Give us your thesis.
Yep. Well, I have a few criterias. Number one criteria is the person, right? Well, my two marching orders is that it has to be fulfilling to me and it has to be fun. So I need to really like someone, believe in somebody. They have to come from somewhere in my network, um, and they have to be coachable. I try to look for things like ego, or pride, or closed-mindedness. Those are red flags for me. But I try to look for people that are really open to being coached, that have a vision that lives within my philosophy of promoting health for our planet and for humans, and that there's a way to create a scalable business that can go beyond the mom and pop stage, right? Those are some of my criterias.
So, what are your top goals for this year? What do you want to accomplish?
Um, my top goal for this year is to successfully publish my book. Um, and it's a business memoir, but it's really built to provide a roadmap to increasing the odds of success for entrepreneurs that are either starting out or in the throes of building their company. Um, Once that is established, I'm moving away from promoting each of my companies and my investment to promoting my personal brand. ericmalka.com is being built right now as a website. It's going to encompass everything from what I do with investing to um, speaking engagements, um, coaching, and obviously promoting the book. And my goal is to really start traveling to speak to audiences of entrepreneurs to have a greater reach. Right now, I'm doing a lot of one-on-one, and that is limiting. I work with a few, probably a handful of entrepreneurs, but I think by speaking through my network called Entrepreneur Organization and YPO, that I'll be able to have a platform to touch a lot more entrepreneurs with my message and my and the lessons I've learned throughout my career.
Love it. Well, Eric, that one was short, but thanks for today. The wisdom dropped. Where can people find out more about you?
Right now, you can find out more about me at strategicbrandinvestments.com, and soon be on the lookout for ericmalka.com.